Well, hello good people, happy hump day, and welcome back to the channel. If you're here for a review of the latest episode of Married at First Sight, then there are 3 things that I can guarantee. 1, my review of the episode will be honest and well thought out. 2, I value my time and yours, and because of that, my reviews will be straight to the point, usually lasting between 5 and 10 minutes. And I'll even let you as the viewing audience know which parts of the episode you can feel free to skip. And 3, my reviews will be posted on the same day that the new episodes of a show air. So if you like my content and you want to support my channel, there are several ways that you can show your love. But without any further delay, let's jump right in. The episode kicks off with Jasmina and Michael getting ready for their marriage. Both of them are in their hotel room and they get a visit from their friends. The scene with Jasmina and her friends was a little cheesy because her friends come into the hotel room and immediately jump on the bed with her. I'm not quite sure if Jasmina is cool with them like that or if that was set up by production. But we flip to Michael, who is getting his hair cut, while talking about his expectations about the process. We flip back to Jasmina and she's getting her hair done and also discussing her expectations for the process. We go back again to Michael, who is also joined by his sisters, and they talk about how great it would have been if their mother would have been there to see the day. Before Michael leaves to take his spot in the wedding, he makes the comment that it would take some time for him to be vulnerable in the process, which makes me fear that he may try to run at the first sign of danger. As guests are coming in to be seated at the wedding, Michael takes his place, and Jasmina is having a nervous breakdown. She's beginning to cry, having second thoughts, and wondering if she would be attracted to her husband-to-be. This scene somewhat reminds me of how Karen from Married at First Sight in New Orleans reacted prior to marrying Miles. And just when it seemed like Jasmina would back out of the wedding, she musters up the courage to walk down the aisle. And as Jasmina is walking down the aisle, she has the look of worry on her face all the way until she meets Michael. And when she makes eye contact with Michael, she begins to crack a smile. As Michael and Jasmina are standing next to each other, you can tell that they're both nervous. But if you've ever been married or part of the wedding party, then you could probably relate to how they're feeling. So during the wedding, the pastor does a great job at officiating things. The pastor reads off the bios for Jasmina and Michael, and they both get a kick out of what their families wrote about them. My favorite part of the wedding was the reading of the vows. When Jasmina read her vows, she showed a funny side of her that I didn't know she had. When Michael read his vows, they were so good that everyone in the audience clapped. Michael and Jasmina become officially married, and Michael's nerves must have worn off because he was strutting and fist-pounding several people as he was escorting Jasmina out of the ceremony. The two then have some alone time where they ask each other some very basic questions. They come back to take pictures with the wedding party, and later on in the reception, they share their first dance. During this time, Jasmina is grinning ear to ear, and she admits to having a small spark with Michael. To me, that translates as if Michael plays his cards right, he will be giving her that pickle tickle by the end of the night. So we go back to Mark and Lindsay from last episode. Lindsay's filter is still non-existent, and she makes a variety of off-the-wall comments at the wedding, loud enough for several people to hear. For example, Lindsay wasn't quite happy about Mark having 5 cats, but she says, "Good news, the cats are close to death." During the wedding party photo shoot, Lindsay tells a friend with Mark right beside her that in 3 hours, she won't have any underwear on. Further into the scene, Lindsay talks to Mark about his 5 cats and tells him that they gotta talk about the 5 cat situation because there's a lot of pussy in the house. While Mark seems genuinely happy about being married, my spider sense is tingling, and I'm pretty sure in that moment, Mark is regretting being so persistent about being on the show. But he is definitely not showing it. Mark kisses Lindsay multiple times at the wedding, and the two of them have in-depth conversations about serious topics during their pictures together and the first dance. Towards the middle of the episode, a significant amount of time was dedicated to allowing the 3 couples to pick out their wedding attire. First was Katina and Elijah. As they pick out their attire, Katina shares some of the same talking points that we've seen over the past 2 episodes. Elijah does the same as well, but one thing that's important to mention during this scene was that Elijah's family feel that his expectations for his wife may be too high. And to that I say great minds think alike. We then go to Steve and Noye picking out their wedding attire, and their scenes were pretty much boring for the most part. Also, they kept repeating the same things, so this was part of the episode where I started to skip over things. And lastly, we get to see Alyssa and Chris picking out their wedding attire. We learn that Alyssa is definitely a picky person, and she feels that it is important for her husband to have a country side to him. And from what I see, Chris is the exact opposite of country. And it also seems that Chris may be overly concerned about how he'll be viewed by his wife. If that's true, then their marriage won't stand a chance, but we shall see. So the next wedding of the episode is of Katina and Elijah. As the two are getting ready for the ceremony, Katina seems 100% ready and optimistic about marrying a complete stranger, while Elijah has a complete breakdown, similar to what Jasmina suffered during the first part of the episode. Elijah's boy consoles him, but Elijah's brother gives a pretty funny reaction because he knows Elijah is in over his head. Now the ceremony has finally begun. Elijah is seen walking down the aisle, and to say that he was nervous would be an understatement. During the entire ceremony, he couldn't stay still for more than a few seconds. When Katina walked down the aisle, Elijah was blown away. So much so that he tells her how beautiful she is enough times for it to become awkward. So the pastor reads Elijah's bio, and when she mentions that Elijah loves a home-cooked meal and hopes that his wife is no stranger in the kitchen, Katina gives that "the devil is a lie" look to the audience, and everyone starts to crack up. Elijah will definitely be in for a rude awakening if he expects that. But the pastor also lets Elijah know that Katina is a social butterfly and an opinionated woman. Seeing this wedding just lets me further know that the two of these people don't stand a chance. But it seems like Elijah is already plotting how soon it would be before he could crack Katina's buns. During their one-on-one together, the editing in the scene made it seem like Elijah was lecturing Katina on why he was ready to be married at first sight. We learn that Katina acknowledges that Elijah has a strong personality, which could be problematic down the line, but we shall see how far they actually make it. The last scene of the episode is of Noye and Steve. They are getting ready for their wedding, but the episode ends right before Noye is about to walk down the aisle. But leading up to the ceremony, as the two of them are getting ready, Steve seems to be laid back, while Noye acknowledges that she's getting nervous. Noye also mentions that she wants her husband to have the proper qualities, but she also wants a man that's tall, dark, and handsome. I'm not sure if Steve is dark enough for her taste, but we shall see. On a scale of 1 to 10, I will give this episode a solid 5. The actual weddings were great to watch, but everything else seemed to be a complete wash. The time that the episode spent following the couples picking their wedding attire could have been allocated to showing the last two weddings in their entirety, but it seems like the show is trying to stretch out everything that it can for this season. And if you've seen the previews for next episode, then you know that Trouble in Paradise comes pretty early for these couples. But that's my Married at First Sight review. Feel free to let me know what you thought about my review or the episode in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to reply to each and every comment. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.